Hey guys, okay, so I'm going to do my labor delivery video. I'm sorry if it's dark, I'm just going to be back here in Sean's room. He's out there in the living room sleeping, so I'm going to try to talk a little louder since I'm a little farther away from him. Um, so I've already recorded this once, but I was talking so low that you probably wouldn't be able to hear me. So I hope you can hear me fine, and I apologize. I have no makeup. I'm in my pajamas. Um, I just going to do this real quick because I've just never seemed to find time for it. So, as most of you know, I was scheduled to be induced on Thursday, March 24th. I ended up actually having him going into labor naturally. Starting on the 23rd, during the evening, I started getting contractions. Very inconsistent, but very powerful. Ended up just going to bed, and at about 3 in the morning, or 2 in the morning, I started. They were every 10 minutes. And 3 in the morning became very painful, and so I decided, okay, I'm just going to get in the shower, we'll head to the hospital early. We had to be there at 7:30 anyways, so I figured we'll just go early since I'm already, contracting on my own. So I got out of bed, hopped in the shower. When I hopped in the shower, my contractions then went from 10 minutes to 2 minutes. So I pretty much got out of the shower pretty quickly, washed, my hair, and got out, threw my hair up, and basically told my husband, it's time to go. They were just too close. So we got to the hospital, and by this time they were about every 4 minutes. They weren't every 2. It was like 2 to 4. They kept bouncing in between 1 minute and 5 minutes. So we get to the hospital, and it is crazy there. The 3 other people went into labor that night, and actually the nurses were like, we were going to call you and cancel your induction today. So if I didn't go into labor naturally, I wouldn't have had him Thursday. So anyways, I get there, and I think they kind of thought maybe I was just showing up early, like maybe not really having strong contractions or something, because they put us in the room and basically were like, okay, I'm going to go check on these other ladies, we'll be back to check on you. No one checked me for dilation, and I didn't get hooked up to an IV. I needed to have my antibiotics started because I have group B strep. No one did that. So it's kind of a little frustrated with that, and so finally, it was like, well, we got there at like 4:30. It was 4. Excuse me. At 4:30, that's when we were actually there, like in the labor and delivery room. At 5:15, the nurse came in, and I was like, okay, I'm in a lot of pain. I decided, I kind of wanted the epidural, but I wanted to see how far dilated I was. So I asked the nurse if she could check me, and she's like, oh yeah, no one's checked you. I was like, no one's checked me. So she checks me, and it really, the way she was looking made it seem like she thought maybe I would be like 3. Now, the appointment the week before, I was only 1.5. So she asked me how far along I was last week. I was 1.5. She just kind of acted like she didn't think I was dilating. So she checks me, and I was 6.5 centimeters dilated. So she was like, holy crap, like, yeah, we should have taken my blood to run my platelets to see if I could get the epidural. At this point, I'm in like severe pain, and I just really wanted the epidural. And I did say I was going to try and do it naturally, but it was in my back again, and I just was like, okay, I'm going to go for being pain-free. So finally, let's see, that was at 5:15, 6:30, 6:45 is finally when the epidural, the anesthesiologist came in to do my epidural. I was the last person she was doing before her night call ended, and I think this maybe she was too tired and messed up my epidural. I'll get to that part in a second. But during my epidural, I got really sick. My blood pressure dropped. I think it was the way I was positioned. I was so, hunched over, and it was just really unpleasant. I got really nauseous and very dizzy. I thought I was going to puke. I had the cold sweats. I was kind of freaked out because all this is going on when I can't move, and I feel like I'm going to puke. And I am a power puker. Like, I don't just like the puke. Like, my whole body wrenches when I puke, and I'm like, oh my god, someone's doing this to my spine, and I'm going to puke. And my blood pressure was low, which was crazy because it was just really high. So it went from really high to really low, and it was just kind of scary. Epidural, obviously worked at that point. At that point, I was completely numb, and I, felt great. And I was like, okay, good. No more pain. About maybe an hour, I started feeling less numb, which they said the initial burst always makes you more numb. And I was like, okay, maybe it's normal. But I started feeling like, pressure and some contractions. So they at this point weren't going to break my water until the very last minute because it's best when you have group B strep not to have your water break. And also they were trying to keep me from dilating so quick because I had to get 2 doses of the penicillin. So basically they were trying to stall my labor since I was progressing so quickly, which ended up working. I held off for my 2nd dose of antibiotics, which was great because that way they didn't have to basically give him an IV when he was born. And that was the whole thing. It was just, trying to stall it just so I could get the antibiotics and protect both of us. So all of a sudden, I am completely unnumb. Like, I can feel everything. My legs don't feel at all numb. Down there, I can feel every contraction. And so they called the anesthesiologist in. Meanwhile, like, I was hitting my, it has like, it's all hooked up to the pump, and you can hit the button. Every time I hit it, it would beep. And the nurses would just come and reset the machine, like, not looking to see what the air code was. And basically, it was like, epidural was kinked in my back. So the anesthesiologist comes down, tries to flush it out, basically to get it working again. When he flushes it, after he gets it unkinked in my spine, he flushes it, it goes all to my left leg, nowhere else. And at this point, the doctor comes in, checks me, and I'm 9.5 centimeters. My water still hadn't broke, so he attempted to break my water. When he checked down there, my water was behind Sean at this point. So they couldn't break my water, so I was stalled at 9.5, completely feeling all the contractions and, all the pressure. So basically they had to wait until I was contracting and try to snag the bag of water. Finally it happened, so that was probably about 10 o'clock, and they finally broke my water. And as soon as they broke my water, it wasn't all my water. Like, it was only, like, a little bit of it. But at that point, I went to 10. At 10:05, I started pushing. And at this point, I am 100% natural, which is not a good feeling. I wasn't prepared for it. So I do recommend going to birthing classes. Something I should have done, but I just really thought since my daughter was so easy that I didn't need birthing classes. So if you haven't done that and still pregnant, I kind of recommend doing it. I should have prepared myself more mentally that I was going to do this naturally. After getting the epidural, I just didn't think about that it would wear off or it would be kinked. So feeling that pressure and that pain, and I'm not going to lie, it hurt. It was the most pain I've ever been in my life. I could not open my eyes. I did it all with my eyes closed. I was in so much pain I didn't want to do it anymore. And it was kind of hard. I had the nurses like, come on, come on. My husband was telling me, push, push, push. And it hurt so bad I didn't want to. So that was at 10:05 that I started pushing. So even though it felt like an hour of pushing, I pushed for 9 minutes. So I kind of I need to suck it up. But it was like so painful. Like it felt like an hour. I pushed for 9 minutes. And at 10:14, my son was born. There was no complications. I do believe the cord was once wrapped around his neck. So it took a second, I didn't hear him cry right away, which really kind of scared me. But he cried. Everything was fine. It wasn't, he wasn't blue or anything. So at 10, sorry, my mind just went completely blank. So at 10:14, he was born, and that was in the morning, and it was amazing. And, they say the pain goes away after you give birth and seeing your child, which it didn't. Seeing my son was the most amazing thing ever, but did not make that pain go away. They did not put him on me after he had him. I think it's because the cord was wrapped around his neck. They did take him over to the cleanup, little station thing, to make sure everything was fine, which is fine. I kind of wish they would have put him on me and get to see him because it took a little while. I didn't get to see him right away. Just the initial when he came out and, my husband cutting the cord. But after that, I could only see him, he was over, that way. I could kind of see, but not, be able to hold him, basically. So then I had a 1st-degree labial tear. So it didn't need any stitches or sutures. That was the only thing that happened down there. At this point, it's pretty much healed. It kind of, aggravated. I could feel it kind of itches, but that's part of healing. Didn't really have any problems with that. After my doctor delivered, the placenta, he had let everything seem fine, but then the nurses came and they started, pushing on your stomach just to make sure, everything was good. I didn't feel anything. Everything was out. I started like gushing blood, and I'm sorry if it's too much information, but it's a labor and delivery video, so you should expect a little TMI. Um, so all of a sudden, like, I could just hear it and I could feel it, and I started like trying not to freak out because I'm like, oh my god, like this is a lot of blood, and it turns out I had some blood clots in my uterus. So they call my doctor back in and they make sure like they check me thoroughly. They're pushing down and getting everything out, and it turns out everything was fine, but it was kind of like a scary moment. Like I thought, oh my god, like, am I like bleeding to death or something? I, realistically, even though it felt like a lot of blood and sounded like a lot of blood, it probably was not a lot. I didn't need a blood transfusion or anything, so obviously it wasn't that much blood. And then they brought him over to me, and I got to hold him, and it was just amazing. I'm just so happy to have him here. So I guess total, my labor, I would say at 3, if you had to count from 3, was when my contractions got really bad. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 7-hour labor, just about 9 minutes of pushing. Completely natural. The anesthesiologist, another anesthesiologist came in the next day and was like, oh, it will probably help some. Like, you were probably numb a little bit. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, I was not numb. I was not numb at all, and it hurt like hell, but, it was worth it. Props to those women who go naturally, and awesome. Like, I'm now one of them, so I guess I can say experienced it, but, like, awesome. People who have multiple babies naturally, thumbs up to you, because it's painful. So that was pretty much it. And then I guess my stay at the hospital, we stayed 2 days. I really wish I just stayed 24 hours because we got a very small room, which really sucked. And, like, we had no room for visitors, basically, and, like, we had no room for anything. There were just so many people who gave birth that day that they actually, labor and delivery was completely full. They were sending people up, like, stairs to, like, this is a regular part of the hospital, not even in labor and delivery. So I guess I'm just happy I had a room in labor and delivery. So the hospital stay pretty much sucked. I had some good nurses, but, like, the fact that they come in, like, every 2 to 3 hours and, like, mess with you, like, they were checking my blood pressure every 2 hours. So, like, I had to get up every 3 hours to feed him, but it was, like, I couldn't get any sleep because they didn't come in when I was awake. They would come in when I finally put him down and try to get some sleep and then wake me up for all this, to take my temperature and get my blood pressure. And it was just like, really? Like, me and my husband were so freaking exhausted, did not sleep the first night at all, even though our son did. It was just ridiculous. Okay, so my camera cut off. So I have no clue where I was because I had to charge it real quick. I think I was just talking about the great nurses, the one really good nurse I had the second night. She was very helpful. She made sure that any procedures that needed to be done, she had me call her when the baby was awake and I was awake, so she didn't disturb my sleep. So the second night was much, much better. On the day that we left the hospital, it was Saturday, so that was the 27th? No, 26th. The 26th of March. That's the day that we actually had our son circumcised, and I know that there's debate. I get questions and comments all the time about circumcision. I've had a couple recently, and I know there's, like, a lot of people who are very, very against circumcision. I believe it's a mother, I can choose what I want to do for my son. This is just something that we did. It's done, so don't give me any grief over it because you're preaching to the wrong person. It's already done. I don't mind answering questions about it if you're nice and come at me in an appropriate manner, but don't give me a lecture. I've seen on a couple things people get so nasty about it. So anyways, on Saturday we did have my son circumcised. They put the numbing gel on him half an hour before the procedure, and my doctor took him back, did it, and he did not cry at all. Not once. And my boy cries when you change his diaper. So to me, that he didn't cry at all is a miracle. So that was done. And of course, like, right before it happened, I had, like, anxiety about it. Like, oh my god, like, it's going to hurt him, blah, blah. He didn't cry. He'll be 2 weeks old on Thursday, and he's never really complained about it, even when touching it and putting the stuff on. He cries just when he's naked in general, so there was no screaming in pain. But I just kind of want to put that out there too, because like I said, if you're going to come and attack me about the fact that I circumcised my son, like, unsubscribe or go find something else better to do, because I'm just out here just putting, my pregnancy journey and, my motherhood journey out there. I'm not here to please everyone. And if you don't like the fact that I circumcised my son, I'm sorry. Everybody has their, right to do whatever they want. If you don't want to circumcise your son, then I don't give you grief. I don't think that you have to circumcise your son. It's something that me and my husband have decided that we did, and I don't regret it one bit. So I just want to put that out there, because there's been a lot of talk about it lately here on YouTube. I've seen other mothers dealing with it, and also, like I said, I've gotten a few people, and like I said, I don't mind people who are actually, like, asking me questions and not being rude about it, but save your facts, save, like, all your little spiels, like, because I don't care. It's done, over with, so leave it be. Okay, so before this video gets too long, so then we were discharged Saturday at 1, and coming home was just wonderful, because we could actually sleep. He's a great sleeper, so it was nice not to have the hospital noise and people coming in and poking and prodding you, and just ridiculous. So overall, my labor and delivery was wonderful, and I can't complain about how long it was. I have my gorgeous, perfect little son. He's absolutely, like, my family finally feels complete. It's just to have him here. I can't imagine him not here. He's. So that was it. I hope, if you guys have any questions, I think that's all, really. I mean, yeah, the pain afterwards, there was some pain, obviously, and bleeding and all that stuff, but, if you have questions about that, just let me know. I can go into more detail. I just, it's pretty much the same for pretty much every woman, the after what happens and stuff. So I will be doing a 2-week update, on Sean, and a 2-week postpartum on me, Thursday, hopefully. I am hoping to do it Thursday, since it took me forever to do this one. Maybe I'll put some makeup on. So I'm sorry if this video, like, completely sucks, but I wanted to get it out there and just tell you my story. I don't think I left anything out. Sorry if I did. If I did, I'll put it down below if I think of anything else. But like I said, overall, everything went wonderful. He's healthy, I'm healthy, and there's no complaints. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.